Good morning. Today is the 5th day of Tishrei of the year 5785, and it's also the 7th of October. And we're going to be starting this year a new series of classes. I can't tell you yet exactly what the permanent subject is going to be, but for this week, we're going to be looking at the wonders issue for Yom Kippur. Now, if you don't know what wonders is, so every week we publish a magazine, a number of articles that have to do with the inner dimension of Torah. And these articles are all based on the classes and the writings of my teacher, Rabbi Yitzchak Ginsburg. You can find wonders either on Patreon. On Patreon, you go to patreon.com/Galeinai, that's Galeeinai. Or you can find it also by going to inner.org, inner.org. All the articles are also can be found there. I suggest that if you do follow us either on Patreon or on inner.org, that you also join the WhatsApp. There's information, at least on inner.org, and how to join the WhatsApp group. And then you get the wonders when it comes out. It usually comes out Monday night. So if you go to Patreon on Monday night, you'll find it already the week's issue. And the issues are each time for the Shabbat, for the Saturday after the Monday when it's published. So this Shabbat will be Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year, and the day which is described in the Torah as Achat Bashana, once a year. It's not just once a year in the sense of time; it's also once a year in the sense of space, because it was the one time a year that the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, would go into the Holy of Holies, and it was also once a year in terms of the person of the high priest who performed all the duties in the temple. And it's all very complex, all these duties, the high point of which, again, was the entrance and prayer and the placing of incense in the Holy of Holies. Now, we don't have a temple, so our focus on Yom Kippur for most people is the fast and the prayers. So let's say a few things about this before we turn to the Wonders article. And about the fasting is just one of 5 things that are prohibited in terms of the body on Yom Kippur. The fast is just the one that's best known. The other 5 are, for fasting includes eating and drinking. The others are washing, bathing in any way. It's even our hands. When we wake up in the morning, we don't wash our hands the way we do every day. Rather, we only wash them up to the ends of the fingers, up to here. And we assume that this day is different. A lot of people don't sleep that night, so they also don't have the problem of the impurity that comes at night. That's in terms of washing. Then there's anointing. This is not very common today, most people think, because we don't anoint with oil anymore. But almost every single cream that one might use is considered to be a balm, like an oil. And so we can't use any creams on this day. Then we have the one that's probably least known, which is not to wear leather soles. Now, leather soles in ancient times were the most comfortable. They still are to a certain extent, although the modern materials, polyurethane or whatever they use today for soles, are even better. They don't last as long, and they're not replaceable. So in that sense, they're still not as good. But we don't wear shoes. We don't use shoes that have any kind of leather in them, not just in the sole. The way that we do it today is we don't use any kind of leather in our shoes. And finally, there is the prohibition or the affliction of the body that's related to marital relations that are forbidden on this day. So husband and wife cannot be together, and this includes all the various restrictions that go along with that. So these are the 5 afflictions of the body. Again, the one that's most well known is the fasting. Now, a word has to be said about the fasting. When you ask someone who understands and lives the purpose of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, they will probably tell you that they don't really notice the fast. This is certainly true after you reach the age of 40, 45, 50, when the body naturally is slower, the metabolism is slower, you don't feel so much the need to drink even, let alone to eat. Still, for some people it is difficult physically, but the feeling on Yom Kippur is what's known as we don't need to eat. And the reason is that in Yom Kippur we have one day a year the chance to ascend to a level that we're not capable of during the rest of the year. And this level is close to being an angel, which is why angels don't eat. They don't need to eat. They may look like they eat in some instances, like the angels that came to Abraham. But we ascend to a level where we don't feel the need to eat. And the closest we can come to this is really Moses on Mount Sinai. That Moses on Mount Sinai didn't eat or drink for 40 days and 40 nights. He joined, in a certain sense, the supernal realm and lived as creatures do in that realm without the need for physical consumption. Because of this, a lot of people wear white on Yom Kippur, and you may notice that men have a garment, at least in the European communities or communities of European origin, to wear a white garment, which is called a kittel. It doesn't matter. But really this is all fashioned around the special garments that the high priest wore in the temple on Yom Kippur, whereas the rest of the year he had 8 special garments, 4 regular garments and 4 additional special garments which were ornamented with gold and with jewelry. We've talked about these over the year. On Yom Kippur he wore a white, the simple white garments, and he did all the service that was special to Yom Kippur only in these simple white garments. The services that were common to Yom Kippur and to other days of the year, like the regular sacrifices that were offered in the temple every day, he would do in the extra beautiful ornamented garments. But certainly the highlight, which was going into the Holy of Holies, that he did in the simple white garments. And this is carried over, and you'll see men and women walking, going to shul, going to synagogue, wearing simple white. And this again is this feeling that on this day we're a few feet above the ground. We're not in the regular place that we are all year long. So this week what we're going to do is we're going to look at the article in this week's Wonders, and we didn't start it today because I really felt that you should take a look at it printed, or at least get a chance to see it printed on screen or print it out yourselves. It'll be available on our Patreon account in a couple of hours. Again, that's patreon.com/GALEINAI, and you can access the articles there separately as a PDF, or you can access the entire magazine. And God willing, tomorrow we'll start looking at the first article and understand the whole shift we've done in Wonders for the coming year. We've tackled a different aspect of Harav Ginsburg's teachings, and hopefully we'll get a chance to start talking about that tomorrow. So thanks for joining today. And I opened this up to we have a home viewing audience for this class every day, which is accessible through Zoom. The Wonders issue has the information about how to log on if you're interested in seeing this live. I suggested to our very nice group that if anybody has any ideas about a particular text that they would like us to study together this year, because last year and the year before we went over the readings, the Torah reading of the week. We could keep doing this for another 80 years. We still wouldn't cover all of it, but I feel that I need a change. So if anybody has a suggestion, an idea about what particular text, it should be a text. It doesn't have to necessarily be in English. It can be in Hebrew, whichever you like. In any case, I'll be translating it into English, and that will be God willing, our topic for the coming year, and for these classes. I also want to remind you that there is an ongoing series that I record every morning on a very important mystical work called Derech Mitzvotecha, or in how it's pronounced in America, Derech Mitzvosecha, by the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Lubavitcher Rebbe. And we're now we've been, I think, about 80 classes on his very long article there on prayer. So that's it for today, and I hope to see you tomorrow when we continue with the first article from this week's Wonders. All the best.